right, so it's now been a couple days since the very much expected and anticipated departure of Sharks captain Joe Pavelski. I didn't feel right back then making this video talking about who would take over the role of captain, but now I'm ready because the answer is quite clear. Sharks pup. All right, obviously, I'm kidding. A dog wouldn't do well in that role, but how about Slappy? Say what? You actually need a real human being? Okay, how about this guy? Okay, enough jokes. Let's get real. Let's just name the captain who it should be and who it should have been all these years. Dan Rusanowski.
Forecheck.
Scar! All right, let's just get real. Let's get right to it. The easy choice, I think the obvious choice for the Sharks is Logan Couture. He should be the next captain. This situation reminds me very much of 4 years ago when Joe Pavelski was named the player that would wear the C, because back then, like right now, there was a great mix of choices. A lot of good potential candidates, but there was one obvious player who stood out as the frontrunner, and I feel like Logan is that guy right now. And yes, obviously, I realize I am the proprietor of the website LoganCoutureFanClub.com, so maybe I'm biased, but I also want to share with you a video clip of an interview I did with Logan back in 2019. To me, in getting to know him in the past 10 years, getting to observe him in the past decade, this clip right here embodies why he should be captain.
Things aren't going well. You're one of the guys to speak with so much honesty, and that's not new.
Right.
But what's in that for you? I think the easier thing to do a lot of times would just be to get it over with or to avoid the situation. What's in that honesty for you? The fans love it, but what do you get out of that?
I'm a fan of sports. I've watched a lot of sports growing up, and the one thing that I never liked is when I watched my team play and they didn't play well, and then no one admitted it or no one talked about it in the media after. They kind of sugarcoated it, and that always irked me as a fan. Mm-hmm. I think if a team or individual players aren't playing well, myself included, then I think it's up to us as professional athletes to admit it and discuss it, and we expect better of ourselves, and I know the fans expect better of us.
I hope it goes unsaid, but I'm going to say it here just in case. My suggestion that Logan Couture should be captain of the Sharks, it should not take away anything from anybody else of this group. I'm talking about leadership, contributions, what players mean to the team. This is not to diminish anything from anybody else. This is only to say Logan Couture is the best candidate for captain, because the leadership group, I still feel like, is one of the most important aspects of this team. It has never been the captain and everybody else. Under Joe Pavelski, under Joe Thornton, under Rob Blake, under Patrick Marleau, and so on, it's been a captain surrounded by a bunch of great leaders. And Logan Couture, like any other good captain, is going to need his other good leaders. The Sharks clearly have that. Now let's discuss the duties of captain. Some things are obvious, I feel like, and some things are a little less obvious, less apparent. Let's talk about the obvious here first. Your role is dealing with the media, both when times are good and when times are bad. I think we already know Logan does that. Another obvious, you cannot afford to have a really bad season, because I feel like, and I think widespread, a lot of people feel like, your words would not mean as much when you deliver them through the media or to the team. You need to have basically a prototypical type season of your career to kind of know that you're still on the same track. Any captain faces that. Another obvious one, your image has to be spotless. Again, I don't think there's any questions about Logan Couture in that regard. How about some of the less obvious things? Being comfortable in your own skin and being able to be honest, critical, and polite all at the same time. You're going to be asked about uncomfortable situations on the team, and there might be some tensions between teammates or situations. You know how things arise in a hockey season, and the captain always has to do a diligent job at making everybody happy while sending a message and being productive. I'm not sure that that's always obvious to everybody watching. Another less obvious one, like I mentioned before, you can't be the only leader. You have to be a guy inside a dressing room or any other sport, a locker room, a clubhouse, whatever. You have to empower other leaders on the team so that they don't feel diminished, so that they feel like they have a role, they have an obligation, they have some power over this team, just like anybody else does. Another aspect to be considered is not just Logan backing up this captaincy with stats, right? Because I think it's obvious what he's done in regular seasons and playoffs since 2010. My goodness, he's one of the leading goal scorers in the NHL during his time as a player, but also his backstory. I feel like it's very important to who he is and kind of what his resume is. Here's a homegrown product, drafted by the Sharks, came up through their minor league system, played in Worcester, arrived in San Jose at a very early age, has seen all the changes that have happened with this franchise, coaching changes, player changes, captain changes. He really understands not only this team, but he also understands San Jose. He's been around for now more than a decade. He's a guy that has learned from leaders like Rob Blake, Joe Thornton, and most recently Joe Pavelski in their captaincies. So he's been exposed to a lot of great teammates and leaders. And again, not just the captains that he's been around, all the other established veterans who have played for the Sharks. You know, number 39 has been looking at them to see how they operate, in knowing in the back of his mind an opportunity like this might arise, and he wants to be the very best at it. I think there's also an obvious consideration to Logan's contractual status, barring anything surprising, right? He's going to be around here for a while, so making this decision in the back of everybody's mind, you know he's going to be around for a while. You're not going to have to choose him as captain for the next 2 years and then worry about changing it to somebody else. It's a nice stability aspect that Logan should be around for a while. So in making this decision, it's going to last for a while. Lastly, and I don't expect there's a lot of people against what I've been saying here, but if you are a detractor, I would offer you this. How many captains are completely perfect for their team on day one? Maybe in history there have been a few situations like that, but I would say for the most part, it's a situation and a position where a player grows into that role. Joe Pavelski did it in the last 4 years. Joe Thornton had done it prior to that with the Sharks. And anybody that steps into this kind of understands the situation at hand, but they don't really know it until they're into it. So again, I'm hoping and I'm figuring that Logan, during this captaincy, during this hypothetical captaincy, would grow into the situation, would grow into the role and position, and only get better at it, just like he's done as an NHL player. So again, if you're against this, the only thing I can really offer you right now, and I don't think there's a lot of you who this applies to, he's only going to get better at it. So if you don't see it right now, give it a year or two to see how it goes. So yeah, that's my feeling. Logan Couture should be the next captain of the San Jose Sharks. And as I record this at the beginning of July, it could work itself out where if Patrick Marleau joins this team, there will be 3 former NHL captains on the roster in addition to Logan Couture. So he's going to have a great support system, a great leadership group. I really think this is going to work out well. I wouldn't expect the team to even announce this until training camp is mostly over, so September, maybe even into October. So you're not going to get this right around the corner, but I do hope when they announce it that what I'm saying here is correct.